Welcome back to the Shire. Hobbit Racing here, and we're going to get back into another tune. We're going to perform another tune anyway. So, Group C. Yep, it's time for another Group C. So a lot of you know that my favorite car out there is the Mazda Renown livery, the 787B from 91, the winning Le Mans car. And I have both. I have the Slot.it, which is an outstanding car of mine. And then I just recently was able to acquire the MR slot car version of it. And that one's coming, but I was pushed in the direction to do this one. So we'll do this car instead first and foremost. Get that little glare of the camera out of there. We will go here. This is the Slot.it CA09c. So it was an early adopter car as far as that goes. The 09 obviously was, one of the ninth car model that they put out there in terms of Slot.it production. And then this livery was also an early livery, being a C. So yeah, take a look here at what we got. It is just a beautiful 956C LH. Noticing the slightly different, taller tail that you can see on this one. Got the BBS in the back and the aero wheel covers in the front. And yeah, it's just another great looking Porsche Group C car. Really, ultimately, just, these cars are just so easily tunable, and I just love the Warsteiner livery on this one. This is from 1983. This was Bob Wolick, first place in Rising. So pull the pin. Let's pull the pin. And by the way, just for comparator's sake, this car, for example, and we'll get into it in a little bit, does not have, the set true front axle. Does have the MX-16, the V12-4, so 23,000 RPM motor. So that's going to be really nice as far as, that for class compliance for Hobbit Racing Park. That's right up there with what we need for that car. But, it's noted that, so this is not, the Evo chassis. So, Marty at Two Lines just did a great one. He did the Hexel, however you say that, livery, the green, the wonderful green. And so you could kind of compare what I've got going on with this one, perhaps. And I'll put a link to his in here, and just really good stuff. In fact, he did the light kit. He did one of the, I'll have to find it. I can't remember which light kit he put in there. Maybe it was a Z Machines. Can't say for sure. I've got some Z Machine light kits myself. And that came out awesome too. So maybe we'll do a Z Machine light kit in here and see how that comes out too. That'd be pretty fun. So let's switch camera views and let's keep going. All right, let's take a closer look at what's going on here. Notice right from the get-go, as we get ourselves closer up with this KH version, you've got a much taller tail than the LH version. So you notice a difference here, a lot more space between the spoiler and the body. The diffuser does come up very similarly to most of the 956, 962s. Some of them have a little bit flatter part down here, but they still have an angled diffuser as it comes up here. Some nice work from the ports in the back there and the brake lights. Of course, you've got a side exhaust here, I believe. A little bit of the aero covers on the front wheels, but not. We've got the BBS going on in the back. Thank you, BBS. Beautiful Warsteiner livery. We've got our Bosch and Shell and Bilstein and Dunlop, typical to Jost Racing and Porsche. And again, just, my goodness, those lines, just absolutely beautiful, right? Just beautiful lines of that car. Other side, of course, pretty simple livery in the grand scheme of things in this 1983 956. So let's pause for a second and get the lid off of this. Okay, so Even back then, back in the day, we had a little bit of a shoulderless screw from Slot.it, if I can get that in focus and frame, but not something maybe that I'm going to use in this case. They're a little bit older. They have barely any piece without the shoulder that I'm going to get good body float from. So, all right, again, now let's take a flip over here. Oh, we got the nice antennas up there too, at least one antenna, I should say. So, a pretty typical Group C interior. This is loose for some reason. It's in two parts, but there's nothing really you need to do to lighten that Group C interior. You can't, they're all pretty much the same underneath these 956s. So that's more than good the way that it is. So for these Group C cars, you see a typical flat, rectangular chassis, but again, you've got that diffuser coming up slightly in the back that you can see. You can start with the components, I suppose. 928 coming out. Slot.it hasn't really deviated from that. It does well depending on the length of straightaway that you're looking for, but I like to get on top of it a little bit more than that, so I'll probably be somewhere in the 260 to 2.7, 2.6 to 2.7 gear ratio range. The MX-16 orange, it's no longer orange. For those of you that know, it's now white. Dual shaft, but of course the classic pod inline, not the Evo. Does have these little flaps that I suppose I might take off if it's going to save me any weight. Not very much, but maybe a little bit. So we'll be adjusting the pod, probably again somewhere around maybe that stays 9. Maybe we go 24 to get to 266. Maybe we go 10.27. Maybe we go 9.26. Something like that. We'll see. These are the stock rubber Dunlop. They'll probably go away. I don't mind so much the fronts by coating them. I like the ride height that I get from the stock Dunlop look, or the stock rubber, I guess we'll say. Of course, it's not really a Dunlop tire that Slot.it puts on most of the Group Cs. So CB34, F, XF, depending on what happens here. I think my Mazda 787B, the renowned Le Mans winning livery, I have extra firms. I think the Kenwood number 21 that I just did firms, so we'll see. This is the stock guide. Snap in. This will be replaced with a Slotting Plus SP101001 guide, and we will definitely be replacing these rather hard braids that are on there, which is certainly fine. Got a magnet underneath there. Maybe I'll leave it. It'll provide a little bit of weight for me, and most likely for me, again, this is CA09, so it's not just, it's not the oldest, it's not the newest either, and it's a C, so CA09c, so it's the, is it a C? Yeah, C. So it's the third livery of the 9th car that Slot.it produced. So these wires are old. I think they're silicone, they could be soy, but I tend to get away from these pretty quickly as well, and I got Slot Car Corner black and yellow, so I will be changing that out to Slot Car Corner black and yellow. Lots of room here, lots of room, lots of room. Sometimes you just put a big old fat piece of weight there. Sometimes maybe some weight can go here and do something to help you out. You never know, but you got a lot of options, as you can see from the Group C setup. Not a lot of mystery here. However, we will talk about this for just a moment. This chassis is so old. How old is it, Tony? It's so old that, again, it's not, neither is it the Evo, but it's not even the second generation, if there was a generation in between that and the Evo that has the ability for the set screw front axles. So in this particular case, I suppose that, you could just replace the chassis, or you could manipulate what you can manipulate. And in this particular case, you can't manipulate anything because there's not even any real axle blocks in here where there are those devices that Slot.it includes that actually are in the newer chassis, that are those tiny little oval shaped pieces that I believe that you can turn upside down or right side up. My dogs agree with me very much so, in case you can't tell. They love those little oval pieces. And so I will be leaving the little ride height pieces that are sitting on top of the interior axle blocks here and here. But otherwise, a pretty clean chassis to work with, as you would expect from most Group C cars. So next we will loosen things up here a little bit. Got a little bit of spin. And making sure we have some play. I like to get a baseline, as many of you have heard me say before. I will disengage the gear lash here. We'll run this motor at about 4.5 volts. Probably put a little CRC 226 definitely on this side, maybe a little bit on that side too. Quiet it down just a little bit, make sure things are running nice and smooth in there. And then we'll throw it on the track and we'll see what we get for a baseline, because you never know until you put it out there, even at 928. Not that I plan on staying there, but yeah, just a little quick introduction to a rather older livery with an older original chassis, but still nonetheless just a beautiful car that Slot.it has produced. And yeah, that's all for now. If you like this kind of content, help us out at Hobbit Racing and comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time, take care, everybody.
If you don't subscribe to Hobbit Racing, I'll poke you with my staff. Pokey, pokey, pokey.
She will poke you with her staff.
Pokey!